All right, y'all. We bless this Kadesh Shabbat Yahuwah. We give praise and honor and esteem to his mighty and Kadash name in the name of Yahushua. Let's get this John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another and seek not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will do the Abba, there's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? Proverbs 25 and 3. You still got a lot to go when it comes to that. That's leading us somewhere. Shalom, man. And that's leading us somewhere else. And also back to something else. But you know, Yahuwah be esteemed. Proverbs 25 and 3. The heaven for the height, and the earth for the depth, and the heart of kings is unsearchable. Now, I'm going to be a little redundant here. Let's go back to Proverbs 30 and 4. And there's a reason why I'm choosing to be this redundant, so bear with me. Proverbs 30 and 4. Who have ascended up into heaven or descended? Who have gathered the wind in his fist? Who have bound the waters in a garment? Who have established all the ends of the earth? What is his name? What is his son's name, if you can tell? Now, of course, we just dealt with this verse not so long ago. Now, this is referring to ascending and descending into heaven. Now, Isaiah 14 and 9. Isaiah 14. Something else just came to my mind, so hold on. And something else came to my mind. I'm probably going to run around here and grab this here, listen to somebody talk about something. It's always funny to me, the stuff that people argue about or bring about, you know, because I used to know a lot of the stuff that people used to teach about when I used to talk to or be more involved with what a lot of Hebrews was talking about. I'm no longer that involved because I just don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's time, energy, probably sanity. So some stuff that people be getting on, I'd be like, wow, niggas really argue about this. But then, you know, it is what it is. Isaiah 14 and 9. It says, hell from beneath is moved for you to meet you at your coming. Now, we'll just go through this here real quick, like, make it quick, because I need to say, because we're looking at the earth for the depth. So we need a corresponding witness to go along with the depth. Some of you recall this verse and some of you don't. But Isaiah 14 and 9 tells you hell. This is Sheol. This is the grave. From beneath is moved. The word is regaz. That is to tremble, to quake, to be disquieted, to be perturbed, to cause to quake, to disquiet. So the grave from beneath will be moved. Let's see why. Pause from Isaiah chapter 14. Come to Zechariah chapter 14. You can pick it up at verse 1 from Zechariah 14 and 1. From Zechariah 14 and 1. Because, you know, sometimes we could spend a lot of times looking at stuff in the second half of the book. Or sometimes we could pin it all from the first half of the book. But I always want you to remember one key component. It's all the same word. Don't matter if it's quote unquote Old Testament or quote unquote New Testament. Don't matter if it's the scriptures. When I say break it down like this, it doesn't matter if it's the law. It doesn't matter if it's the prophets. It doesn't matter if it's the writings. It doesn't matter if it's the gospels. It don't matter if it's the epistle letters. It's all the same word. I know a lot of brews don't like to hear that, but it's all the same word. They are all saying the same exact thing. And the issue is not with the person who's conveying the word. The issue is with you because you don't know what you talking about. See, that's the saddest thing, and this ain't the first time that I had to say this. And the brother who was talking about something earlier, he echoed the sentiment which I have echoed for years. The issue is not with the person in the text. The issue is with you. Them people knew who their God was and knew who they was. You didn't know who your God was, and you don't know the text like that. You didn't know your quote unquote culture, heritage, nationality, this, that, there, and the third. So you to stand up as if you some type of vanguard of the understanding of the word of Yahuwah is downright deplorable and disgusting and arrogant of you in every shape, form, or fashion that it could even be encapsulated into words in whatever language that you chose to speak it in. You know what I'm saying? You got niggas who've been walking, only knowing that they've been approved for 10 years and claiming they an expert. Nigga can't even stop saying it, but he an expert. You's a fool, that's what you is. Zechariah 14:1. Behold, the day of you who will come, and your spoil shall be divided in the midst of you. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle. The city shall be taken, the houses rifled, the women ravished. Half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue shall not be cut off from the city. Then shall Yahuwah go forth against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof towards the east and towards the west. And there shall be a great valley, and half the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south. And you shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azal. And you shall flee as you fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, Balak of Yehuda, and Yahuwah Ma'alahim shall come, and all the saints with you. So notice that he said you're going to flee like you fled in an earthquake, because guess what? Matter of fact, pause it. Come to Isaiah chapter 1. See, the earth gonna move when he get here. See, the book tells you, see, we try to set you up, let you see what it see. So when you understand the earth from the death and you see that the hell or the graves is gonna move at his coming, you can see who he's referring to. You already know, because we just talked about this in Revelation chapter 20, about that first resurrection. And the dead in the Mashal shall rise first. The graves gonna move at his coming. And that's Isaiah 2. My apologies. Isaiah chapter 2, verse 5. And it says, O house of Jacob, come you, and let us walk in the light of you. Therefore have you forsaken your people, the house of Jacob, because they be replenished from the east, and our soothsayers like the Philistines, and they please themselves in the sons of strangers. Their land is also full of silver, gold, neither is there any end of their treasures. The land is also full of horses, neither is there any end of their chariots. The land also is full of idols. They worship the work of their own hands, that which their own fingers have made. And the mean man bow down, and the great man humble himself. Therefore, forgive them not. Enter into the rock and hide you in the dust for the fear of Yahuwah and the esteem of his majesty. The look of the lofty man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and Yahuwah alone shall be exalted in that day. For the day of Yahuwah of hosts shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty, upon everyone that is lifted up, and he shall be brought low. And upon all the cedars of Lebanon that are high and lifted up, upon all the oaks of Bashan, upon all the high mountains, and upon all the hills that are lifted up, upon every high tower, and upon every fenced wall, and upon all the ships of Tarshish, and upon all pleasant pictures. And the loftiness of men shall be bowed down, and the haughtiness of men shall be made low. And Yahuwah alone shall be exalted in that day, and the idols he shall utterly abolish. Now drop down to verse 21. To go into the clefts of the rocks. Matter of fact, you could get it verse. I just read it all. Verse 18 and verse 19. And they shall go into the holes of the rocks and into the caves of the earth for the fear of Yahuwah and for the esteem of his majesty, when he arise to shake terribly the earth. And that day a man shall cast his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which they made each one for himself to worship, to the moles and to the pads, to go into the clefts of the rocks, to the tops of the ragged rocks, for the fear of Yahuwah and for the esteem of his majesty, when he arise to shake terribly the earth. Cease you from man whose breath is in his nostrils, from wherein is he to be accounted of. Listen to what he said. He said he gonna shake the earth. Let me get you another one for shaking the earth. Book of Haggai. Praise you, Lord. We going straight on to it. Book of Haggai. Go and get verse 6. Haggai 2 and 6. Let's look at what he tell you now. Now we got to understand for hell beneath to be moved that is coming. We got to see that. I was gonna grab you Daniel 12, but you already know. You should know what Daniel 12 and 2 say. Be a time of trouble. Earth gonna cast out the dead, those that did well, and those who did not, to everlasting shame and contempt. I get that for you while you're writing over there to Haggai chapter 2, verse 6. But he told you right here in Daniel chapter 2, many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to everlasting shame and contempt. Haggai chapter 2, verse 6, for thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, yet once it is a little while, and I will shake the heavens and the earth, the sea, and the dry land. And I will shake all nations, and the desire of all nations shall come, and I will fill this house with esteem, saith Yahuwah of hosts. The silver is mine, the gold is mine, saith Yahuwah of hosts. And the esteem of the latter of this latter house shall be greater than the former, saith Yahuwah of hosts. And in this place will I give shalom, saith Yahuwah of hosts. Now, we look through all of that for you to understand what Isaiah 14 is referring to when it tell you that from beneath is moved. And again, that is regards, to tremble, to quake, to be agitated, to quake, to disquiet. He gonna move the graves. Ad is coming. You can read 1 Thessalonians 4:13 if you wish. You can read John chapter 5 and verse 25 if you wish. It all relates to the same thing. Now let's look at your coming. So that is karaf, or to meet, and that is to encounter. So the graves will quake when they encounter. Coming is bow, that is to go in or to come in or to attain, to be numerated, to lead in, to carry in, to bring the past, to be introduced. So the graves will be moved at an encounter when Yahusha is introduced. And it says it will stir up the dead. Is for stir up, awaken, rouse oneself, stir up, rouse, incite. Now see, with all this rioting going on, let me show you how niggas misinterpret this book. Now go to Genesis chapter 49. Stupid niggas trying to use this as Genesis 49, saying this is what these sinners out here doing while they out here rioting. Now I'm mentioning this here because it's disrespectful and blasphemous, to say the least. You know what I'm saying? Ain't got nothing to do with the people who rioting, because they doing, some of them paid to go out there and riot. Y'all should know that. If you study enough American history in modern times, you should know that the CIA and the FBI pay agent provocateurs to go out there and to rabble rouse for the purpose of furthering their nefarious means. If you don't know this, look it up for yourself. Because if you think everybody out there is a regular citizen who's just upset, you are greatly deceived. Are there regular people out there? Yes, they are. Yes, there are. Excuse me. Are there agents out there? You better believe they are. But to sit back and say what's going on out there pertains to the script is disrespectful and blasphemous, to say the least. Genesis chapter 49 and verse 8. It says, Judah, you are he whom your brethren shall praise. Your hand shall be in the neck of your enemies. Your father's son shall bow down before you. Now, for some of you who've been around for years, y'all already know what this is. Y'all already know that he's the one who his brethren will praise. Notice he says brethren. So all you need to do is go read Hebrews chapter 2. He that is sanctified, and he that sanctified all are one, for which cause he is not ashamed to call them brethren. All you need to go do is read Mark chapter 3. Who is my mother? Who is my sister? Who is my brother? He that doeth the will of Elohim. So when we just read the other night, Wednesday night to be specific, how he said his brethren, he would be a strength. See, let me go back around there and refresh y'all memory. See, this is why I get upset when sometimes when people post this type of stuff that they be posting and say this stuff, the type of stuff that they be saying, because these men don't know what they're talking about. You can't take every event that happened in the world and say this line up with script. You can't do that. There's too many people out here that are not ready scribes. It's shameful, it's disrespectful, and blasphemous. And you wonder why people don't want to serve Yahuwah. Because there's too many ignorant niggas out here who don't know what they're talking about. What's going on in Minneapolis, Minnesota has absolutely nothing to do with Genesis chapter 49. Not a word. You know why it ain't got a word to do with it? Because Yahuwah don't deal with sinners in any capacity whatsoever for the furtherance of the exalting and honoring of his name. He don't do it. And you can't find it nowhere in the book where he do it. Where he just go get a whole gaggle of sinners and say this honoring him. We can't be that foolish. At this point, we just took the name of Yahuwah and made it into an idol because we done made him a God out of our own image and our own mind. And we cannot do that and say we the servants of the living Elohim, because now we're not serving him in Ruach and in truth, nor declaring his name in righteousness. You got to get over that fact that people, you got to stand for the word. The word is the word, and the word don't cut corners for nobody. Period. No one. Ain't nobody gonna slide by and be like, well, you know what? He did this for the people, so Yahuwah gonna accept it. He will not. If you die a sinner, you going to hell. If you don't live according to the faith of Yahushua HaMashiach, sanctified by that faith and living in Kadashness, you going to hell. No exceptions. No one is skating out of that. You got to understand something. Yahushua died in faith and obedience. How would a man who came to die and resurrected because of his faith and obedience to forgive you of your sins, do you not know that's unjust judgment if Yahuwah let anybody slide in who is not equal to that standard that Yahushua set? That means that man died for nothing. He means he died for nothing. You don't got to like it. You ain't got to agree with it, but you're going to bow your knee and you're going to confess that man's name, and you're going to give honor and esteem to his name, or he cast you in that lake where that word dies not, and that fire shall not be quenched, because you're not going to get through the gates of that city. That man say, and we're going to look at it in a moment, that man say his sheep hear his voice and they follow him. You got to follow that man to get into that pasture and lay down. You got to follow that man. Period. You got to follow that man. That man say outside that gate is whoremongers, liars, murderers, idolaters, and everybody who love and make a lie. Where is the exception? That man say nobody that work abomination or defile will enter into that city. That man say not a single solitary sinner is entering into that city. He say he gonna get sinners consumed out of the earth. That's what the words say. That man say he is angry with the workers of iniquity every single solitary day. That's what the words say. But he say his ears are open to the prayers of the righteous and he stands strong on their behalf. That's what the words say. So if a person got a problem with that, you got a problem with Elohim, and you need to take that up with him, because I'm going to say what his words say, and I don't care who don't like it. Nevertheless, Job chapter 19, look what he say right here, right? Look what he say in verse 13, because I want you to be clear that his brethren in Genesis 49 is the apostles. That's who he's talking about. Listen to what he say. He say he have put, we'll make it verse 12 so you can see this is what we were just talking about on Wednesday. His troops come together and raise up their way against me and encamp round my tabernacle. He say he put my brethren far from me, and my acquaintance are truly estranged from me. My kinfolk have failed me, and my familiar friends have forgotten me. Remember, the apostles fled from him, right? So his brethren been put far from him. Ain't no brethren because you black. That's not what that, Mount chapter 3. That ain't what that man said. Let's look at what the man said. Because you're either going to believe what the words say or you're not. And when I say what the words say, I'm talking about Yahushua. You're going to believe what he say or you not. Simple as that. Mark chapter 3, verse 31. Don't you know the whole family in heaven and earth is named after this man? And everyone who named the name of the Mashiach ought to depart from iniquity. Like, get your mind right in your game time. See, look at what he said in Mark chapter 3, verse 31. Then came his brethren and his mother standing without, sent unto him, calling him. The multitude sat about him. They said unto him, behold, your mother and your brethren without seek for you. And he answered them, saying, well, who is my mother and my brethren? And he looked around about them, and which sat about him, and said, behold, my mother and my brethren. For whosoever shall do the will of Elohim, the same is my brother, my sister, and mother. That is what it is, man. That is what it is, man. If you ain't doing the will of Elohim, you are not a brother. It is what it is, man. Well, what is the will of Elohim? Well, let's look at John chapter 6. What's the will of Elohim? What does it say to work? Come over here to Peter. Let's see what the will of Elohim is. Or we could get 1 John chapter 3. Let's just see what the will of Elohim is. Because you ought to know his will. According to the epistle letter written to the Ephesians, you're supposed to know his will. I want 1 Peter chapter 2. I need to swing to 1 John chapter 3. I think I do need to swing to 1 John chapter 3. You ain't supposed to be ignorant of what that man's will is. And as Kira just stated, you got to be pro Elohim all the way around. You got to be pro Elohim. If you're not pro Elohim, then what are you really promoting? Verse 22 of 1 John chapter 3. Let me crank it up a notch so I don't get too far off the beaten path. And whatsoever we ask, we receive of him, because we keep his commandments and do those things that are pleasing in his sight. This is his commandment, that we should believe on the name of his son, Yahushua HaMashiach, and love one another as he gave us commandment. He that keep his commandment dwell in him, and he in him. And hereby we know that he abide in us by the Ruach that he has given us. Well, that's the will, to believe on Yahushua. Well, you know, if you believe on Yahushua, the captain of your sufferings, which made perfect, that he could make. Matter of fact, come on around here to Hebrews chapter 5, because if my memory serves me correctly, he mentioned bringing in brethren. Do to a certain extent. Look at what it says, Hebrews 5 and 8. Though he wore a son, yet he learned obedience by the things which he suffered. And being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all that obey him. Called of Elohim a high priest after the order of Melchizedek. And you know from the order of Melchizedek that blood is able to make you kings and priests, which means you would be in covenant with Elohim, which means you would be a part of his family. So when you see Yehuda, you are he whom your brethren, so it say Yehuda, that's what it says, shall praise, which is Yada, your hand shall be in the neck of your enemies. So neck or stiff neck is because the word is orah. It means neck, back of neck, fleeing, or of apostasy, or stick neck, or obstinate. Apostasy is rebellion, if you're not aware. That's a rebellion from the word. So he says that there is a stiff neck or the apostasy of your enemies. And that is Oyab. So now that changes. It's not that somebody has your hand in a neck, it's that it's the obstinance or the rebellion of your enemies. Well, we already know that because we know who delivered him to the scribes and the Pharisees. So that can't pertain to the white man and so-called African Americans. That can't apply. Doesn't apply. He's saying your sons, your father's son shall bow down before you. All you need to go do is read Revelation chapter 28. They fell down and worship. For those of you who don't know, I get the verse for you. Come on to Matthew 28. It ain't gonna hurt nobody. Because it's all getting to the same point of what I'm trying to get to. Matthew chapter 28. Matthew chapter 28, verse 6. For people who say that ain't nobody worship Yahushua in the text, I promise you these dudes don't read and don't be knowing what they be talking about. Listen what it says. He is not here, for he is risen. As he said, come see the place where the Lord lay. Go quickly and tell his disciples that he's risen from the dead. And behold, he go before you into Galilee, and there shall you see him. Lo, I have told you. They departed quickly from the sepulchre with fear and great joy, and did run to bring his disciples word. And as they went to tell his disciples, behold, Yahushua met them, saying, all hail. And they came and held him by the feet and worshipped him. Now, if they holding him by the feet, guess what they do? That man said, all hail. I get the word for you in the Greek. We get it for you in the Greek so you can see what it means. So you can see what's actually being stated, what's actually being said to you. You can take it for how you want to take it. Book say what it say. The word all hail is Cairo, to rejoice, to be glad, to rejoice exceedingly, to be well, to thrive, and salutations and hail. Also means Godspeed. It is a greeting. And personally as a salutation. Be well. Say all hail or Elohim be with you. We tell you that in John. Don't get nobody Godspeed who don't come bring the doctrine unless you be a partaker of their evil deeds. Back to Genesis chapter. Let me get to the point of what we came over. I don't even remember where we had done grabbed this from the start. I remember now. Praise you, Lord. So now we look at verse 9. It says, Yehuda is a lion's whelp from the prey, my son. You are gone up. He is stooped down. He is couched as an old lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? I understand. I understand. It definitely can be overlooked. When you look at rouse him up, it is quam. You know how the dudes love to say it, quam yasharala. You know, it means to rise. Who will raise him up? It said he's couched down. Well, he stooped down. Stoop down is kara. It is to bend, to bow down, to sink, to kneel in reverence, or to kneel down to rest. So when he says that he stooped down, Yehuda is a lion's whelp from the prey. My son, you are gone up. He has laid down to rest. He has couched. That word couch is rabats. It is to lie down. It is to lie down. So he's telling you that Yehuda is a lion's whelp. Let's look at lion's whelp. Whelp is ger, yet again. So this is young. So he's a young lion. He's from the prey, which is Torah, which is he's food. So he's lied down. He's lied down as a lion, as an old lion. Who will raise him up from the dead? See, that's what they sit back and tell you. See, we rising up. How is somebody rising up, bringing honor and esteem to Yahuwah? Is Yahuwah's name being mentioned on CNN right now? Is Yahuwah's name being mentioned on Fox News? Is Yahuwah's name being mentioned in anybody's post in regard to this matter? And if the answer is no, I mean Yahuwah has absolutely nothing to do with it. Because anything that Yahuwah has something to do with, his name will be esteemed, and Yahushua will be preached, and everyone in heaven will rejoice behind it. Because sinners will repent and return to the family. So if that's not occurring, it's not of Yahuwah. Not for the positive, I should say. If that's of Yahuwah, it's to bring about his will that sinners may be destroyed, to help usher in the man of sin who will come in and tell you, I'll be peaceful to you, black man. I'll stop these people from killing you because you matter and you stupid niggas gonna follow to your own destruction. Have you not read how the text say the man will come in peace? And with peace and craft, he'll deceive many. Can't be this simple. These people don't believe the book, man. Because you fall for the okie doke every single solitary time. Every time. People who know the word ain't got no business pushing and promoting none of it. You should be able to understand because you're supposed to be able to have compassion on those who are ignorant and out of the way. You know why they mad. You understand why they reacting the way they reacting. You get it. I can't condone it, but I understand. I ain't even mad at you. You know what I'm talking about? I get your angst. And if I ain't know no better, I might be right around there with you. But praise be to Elohim in the name of Yahushua. I know a little better than that. So therefore, things of this nature don't get me upset. They don't cause my emotions to ebb and flow. Don't cause any of that. And we're talking about the earth. And it's the thing I don't like. You got sinners out here promoting these young kids to go out there and do stuff they're not willing to do themselves. Niggas out there, Kaepernick giving money to get them lawyers. Well, why that whole nigga ain't out there with them? You ain't asked yourself that question? Why the coward ain't out there with him? Don't give me no lawyer money, nigga. Come get locked up with me if you're a real one. Because if you're a real one, you're going to be on the front line. And guess what? Your people, Nike got control of your money. They'll bond you out, bond me out. Get you a lawyer, get me a lawyer. If you that much of a real one, the real ones be on the front line. Not at the house talking about kicking lawyer money. Ain't coming out of his pocket. You got to be simple. I seen a dude say that's that NFL lawsuit money. The lies you tell, that's Nike Incorporated money. This man been bought. He's a corporate whore. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't smart enough to realize that because you want that hug from Mr. Charlie so bad. That's why you said Black Lives Matter, because you want Mr. Charlie to tell you that no life matter to him. You wouldn't care nothing if that man came and told you you matter to him. Why you care so much? Why you don't want you? Why don't you want your life to matter to you? You who have been telling you your life matter to him, and you've been telling him you don't care. You want Mr. Charlie to tell you your life matter to him. Nigga, you's a coward and you flawed. Nigga, I ain't worried about them people. I ain't concerned with them people. I don't need no high five from them. I don't need no hug. I don't need no kiss. I don't need no validation. Yahushua's my validation. Period. I don't need them. So I don't care how they feel about me. I don't care what they say about me. I don't care how they represent me, because they're not accusing my good conduct in Mashiach. All they doing is accusing the works of sinners. So why? That ain't got nothing to do with me. I live in the world. I'm not of it. They black. I ain't got nothing to do with that. But they a sinner though. So if they wasn't no sinner, they wouldn't have the opportunity to cast you in that light. You ain't never thought about that. You ain't never thought if you return to your Elohim and return to set apart living and return to righteousness and stand for what is upright and just in the eyesight of the living Elohim, you don't think the people wouldn't have nothing to say? All they would be doing is accusing your good behavior in Mashiach. But you're too proud to do that. You're too stubborn and stiff-necked to do that. Because that would be right. You just want them to love you because you black. You care so much. Why you care? I know why you care. Ain't nobody raised you right. That's why you care. Ain't nobody tell you that you was good whether they love you or not. Love yourself, nigga. You black. That's all that you need to know. Before you even knew who your God was, that should have been enough. I carry myself with respect because I'm a man of respect. Shouldn't even matter. You can't expect nobody to respect you when you don't respect yourself. And this don't give no justification for killing. I'm just telling you they not going to respect you because you don't respect yourself. Ain't damn man on this line going to tell you they ever respected a woman who ain't respect herself. Ain't damn one of them on here going to tell you that unless they was a simp. You're not going to respect somebody who don't respect themselves. Well, you can't respect yourself when you don't serve your God. And this ain't, oh, they know who you is. That ain't got nothing to do with it. Indeed, that ain't got nothing to do with them knowing you an Israelite or not. If you live in godliness, what can they say? Let me leave that alone, man. Y'all see what Genesis 49 about? That grave moving. Come on back to Isaiah 14. Man. Junk crazy, man. See, the first thing that's see, you's a coon. You supposed to be, man, call me what you want to call me, nigga. Just don't call me late for dinner, my nigga. Just don't call me late for dinner. Because now I'm pro-truth, man. When I say pro-truth, pro-Amon, I'm pro-Elohim, man. That's what I'm about. That's what I support. You know what I'm talking about? You got to just weight and just balance when it comes to that, man. I ain't tilting no scale to fit the mind frame of a bunch of sinners, man. That scale gonna balance. It's gonna be lined up with your word, man. You can like it, love it, or leave it. Either way it go, you who a word right. That's what we standing on. You ain't gotta like it, but you gonna have to respect it. You either gonna respect it now, or you gonna respect it on that day when the books open. But you gonna respect it. That's for certain. You gonna respect it. 14:9, man, book Isaiah. I was wrong with it. Hell from beneath is moved for you to meet you at your coming. It stir up the dead for you. Listen what it say. It say it stir up the dead. And again, that's that word herb. Excuse me. Arouse. So he say that the graves is going to stir up the dead foreign. Dead is Rapha. I ain't cooperate. And of course, that's the ghost of the dead, shades, spirits, dead, deceased. Even all the chief ones of the earth. That's Atud, a chief one. All you rich people, high-ranking people, it have raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. He's going to raise them all from the dead. And they shall all speak and say unto you, are you become weak as we? Are you become like unto us? You heard what it said? You become, they're going to speak to him. They're going to say you became like us. Well, let's look at what it say for weak here. See, we're going to get to the next verse. This is what people say. See, Lucifer was over the music in heaven. That's a lie from stupidity. Because whoever told that lie to begin with was stupid. And then we had to be stupid to repeat it. Now, that word for weak is kalal, to become weak, to become sick, to show signs of sickness, but most importantly, to be wounded. Have you been, they shall speak and say, have you been wounded like, and that's Mashal, to be likened, to be similar? You've been wounded like us? That's too easy. Y'all know what that's talking about. But if you don't know, let's take a look. 1 Peter chapter 4. Four and 5, if you would. It's still dealing with the part with the earth for the depth. Because we talked about heaven for a height a little bit, sprinkle the cover in, but it's for the earth for the depth. I ain't got the word for depth yet. Give me a minute. I'll read it to you. Y'all willing? We're going to get there. I definitely should have done that when I had the opportunity. I'm talking about something else. Definitely. 1 Peter 4 and 5. Who shall give account to him that is ready to judge the quick and the dead? For this cause was the gospel preached also to them that are dead, that they might be judged according to men in the flesh, but live according to Elohim in the Ruach. But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch under prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves. For love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man have received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as the ability which Elohim give, that Elohim in all things may be esteemed through Yahushua HaMashiach, to whom praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Look what he told you, right? If you speak, speak according to the word. If you serve, serve according to the ability of your skill that Elohim has given you. And he said, most importantly, do it all things that in all things Elohim might be esteemed through Yahushua. He said, have hospitality without holding a grudge. Let every man have received the gift. Let him minister as one another. If you don't receive the gift of Elohim and hold that gift good. See, come to Romans chapter 12 when it comes to that too, man. Because we were talking about this in regards to what you call it. When we were talking about the singers and some of those priests. Everybody ain't got the same gift, man. Now, let's be honest with you. Receiving the Ruach is a gift. Everybody ain't gonna have a gift in the ministry. You got to be cool with that. Everybody want to jump up and feel they got to do something. Maybe your job is just to sit at home and just thank Elohim that your soul been saved. That's too much because everybody want to be seen. Vainglory type cats. Romans chapter 12, right? Verse 3. He say, for I say through the grace given unto me, every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as Elohim has dealt to every man the measure of faith. For as we have many members in one body, and all members have not the same office. So we being many are one body in Mashiach, and every one members one of another, having then gifts differing according to the grace that is given to us, whether prophecy, let us prophesy according to the proportion of faith. Or ministry, let us wait on our ministering, or teaching on teaching, or exhort on exhortation. He that give, let him do it with simplicity. He that rule with diligence. He that show mercy with cheerfulness. See, we don't have that conversation when somebody says, you need to say minister in the body is to show mercy, or to serve, or to give. Or everybody feels like a gift is to teach. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got it in your mind like we just read last week that a gift could be to sing. But that's somebody's gift. Because all the gifts have to bring honor to Elohim through Yahushua HaMashiach. See, that's what we don't seem to grasp. It ain't about you, man. Who is you? You dust and ashes. It's always been about Elohim. We have lost sight of that because we are stiff-necked, proud, vain, just rebellious people. That's why we read Isaiah chapter 2. Those that lifted up in their see, we only want to look at people in their pride as the elite, these Caucasians, these chief ones, these rulers, in which they are. And not just the Caucasians, but all of them across the earth. But we don't want to look at ourselves that we might fall into that classification. We don't want to look at ourselves that we fall into that classification because you don't want to see yourself as the vain and proud person that you are. I was talking to a young man earlier. The man say, none of my friends say the stuff that you say to me. I say, because none of your friends ever held you accountable. I'm not accustomed to that. Growing up, we held each other accountable. Just like I seen an article, I've seen it several times over the course of months, talking about black men should tell each other that they love each other. And to me, I'm like, I don't understand how that's a foreign concept because me and my peers, we grew up telling each other that. It wasn't about, why this nigga telling me he love me? This nigga, it wasn't none of that. It's my nigga. I've known this nigga for years. I shed blood for this man. I spilled blood for this man. So why is it an issue that my nigga tell me I love him and I feel uncomfortable? That's my nigga. I love you too. What do you mean? You know what I'm saying? I don't know how other dudes is raised, where they feel uncomfortable with that. I did not come in that type, and we were around dudes who ran in the street. But if that's your nigga to tell your nigga you love it, that make you uncomfortable. Something wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about we was doing this at least as early as I know, 13, starting at least 13, 14 years old. Everybody separate from each other. Boy, I love you, boy. Mama holler at you tomorrow, my nigga. Like, that's nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you don't love this your nigga, this your friend, this your brother. How you feel uncomfortable to tell him you love him? You know what I'm saying? If you love him, you love him. Is we so caught up because so many niggas gay that you think it's gay to look your man, your nigga, your homeboy, your air like in the face and say, my nigga, I love you, boy. Man, you can't be that simple. You know what I'm talking about? Man, ain't no shame in that. But see, this is stuff we don't want to talk about. But you worry about that white man telling you love him. I don't need him to tell me he loved me, man. But see, again, I was raised to be proud to be who I am and to love those who look like me. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of people that I was raised around. That's what my people taught me. They never taught us to seek validation from other races of people. You know what I'm saying? Love yourself. You love yourself, you're going to love those who look like you. So I don't want to do no damage to nobody who look like me. You know what I'm saying? I ain't in no rush to do that. I got respect for this man off the top. Because we the same thing. We going through the same thing. You know what I'm saying? But we don't have that type of mind frame. Stop worrying about people who don't look like you and how they feel about you. We need to look at ourselves, deal with ourselves. I ain't worried about them. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They don't care nothing about you. You don't look like them. And you can't be worried about trying to get them to love you because you don't look like them. They don't have the same care for you that you're going to have for somebody who look like you, or how they going to have care for somebody who look like them. So I don't need their validation. I need to know my brother going to ride with me, man. That's what I need to know. I need to know my woman love me. She going to respect me. She going to honor me. I don't need to worry about if Mr. Charlie woman going to honor and cherish me. She's not my concern. I don't care if Mr. Charlie's sons gonna respect me. They're not my concern. My concern is to make sure my son love and respect himself. Therefore, he gonna love and respect his brother. That's my concern. I can't deal with them because what they got going on and what they got going on. We already gonna know. This boy gonna have to know, son. If you gotta do it, you gotta bust head for your brother, then bust heads for your brother, son. But you stand firm like a man, and you hold it down. If that's what's got to be done, then so be it. But you carry yourself like a man at all times. Because what they do, that's indicative of their own character. That ain't got nothing to do with me. But I got to make sure my son ready to ride in all aspects of life. Not just on no, this white man ain't going to do nothing to me. I don't even understand. I told y'all that. I don't even understand why y'all fear them people. Who are they to fear? They bleed like you bleed. They're going to stand before the same God that you got to stand before. So I'm not concerned with them. They ain't no threat to me. Ain't no pressure. But one thing for certain, my son gonna know, you be proud to be who you are. Whether you knew you were Israelite or not, you love yourself, son, and you love your brother. You respect yourself, you respect your woman. Teach your daughter, teach my daughter, you respect your brother, you respect your daddy, you respect your uncles, you respect your husband. We ain't worried about them. That's our problem. You worried about them. Why won't they love us? Why y'all keep doing me like you sound like a hoe that been beat up for years, trying to get a nigga to love you. They don't love you, man. They don't love you, man. If you ain't figured that out for 400 years, man, let me tell you now, they don't love you. And they won't love you. Deal with it. You know what I'm talking about? They don't love you, man. Period. They don't. So now what you gonna do? You gonna keep fighting for their love, or you gonna turn around and fight for your God love? Because they don't love you. And I'm not talking about every single solitary Caucasian that walked the earth, because that would be simplistic. But in general, they don't love you. They don't love you. Now what? You just figuring this out? It's 2020 and y'all just figuring this out? Nigga, I knew this in the mid-90s. What do people don't care nothing about me, man? And why you think I was like, oh, I can't work for nobody. I got to hold my own business. How simple would it be to me to go to somebody who hate me and ask him for a job and be shocked when he don't give me one? He ain't gonna have no control of my life because I'm gonna take control of mine. I ain't gonna give him control over it. That's another conversation for another day. Let me move on, man. Come on back over here. Where we was at, man? I was in Isaiah 14, man. I had grabbed a couple stuff we read at Haggai chapter 2, man. He gonna quake the earth. So come back to Proverbs 25, man. Let me get that word for depth for you. Like I said, man, and you ain't gotta like it, you ain't gotta agree with it. I really don't care. But anybody who know me, they know that. Oh, bro, I always felt like this. I ain't just start feeling like this. You know what I'm saying? I ain't getting the word and start thinking like this. I thought like this in my teens. Nigga, I got eyes to see. I'm not an idiot. I'm not a fool. And like I said, I wasn't raised that way. We weren't raised to seek Caucasian validation. We weren't raised that. My mama didn't teach me that. My daddy didn't teach me that. My granddaddy didn't teach me that. My auntie didn't teach me that. Nobody around my way taught me that. Not the dudes, the older cats that I sat with and respected, hit with, they didn't teach me that. So coming up, nigga, I'm black. I'm happy to be black. I love people who are black. And I respect every black man that I come across. But first and foremost, he's a man and he's due respect until he shows that he's not worthy of respect. Police ain't have no leeway with me in my youth. This much. He disrespect me one inch, I'm going in. You know what I'm saying? I don't fear him. Nigga, we can fight. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't never ran up on no police officer. Oh, he might shoot me. Man, screw this cracker. That's what my mindset. I still feel that way now. I'm not scared of you. Who are you? My point being, how could I be scared of the police and been in the dope gang and wasn't scared of niggas in the dope gang, but I'm scared of the police? Make that make sense. How can you be in a business where you're ready to kill somebody who looked like you, but you scared of them? I remember we were hustling out East, man. And I knew when we were hustling out East, man, that if a nigga circled the block one time too many, these boys might shoot a car. But I see one police car run 15 dudes off the block. It's 2003. I'm 22 years old. And I'm like, boy, I ain't believing this. Because all you boys got fired. So why you won't shoot at his car like you shoot at this nigga car who hit this corner? But you'll shoot at him. But you're not going to shoot at him. I ain't understand that logic. That didn't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Because why you scared of him? Man, screw him. Because he don't care about you. So why do you have this high level of reverence for this individual? But you don't have this high level of reverence for someone who looked like you. That didn't make sense to me because of how I was raised. That didn't make sense to me. This didn't make sense to me. I got a man of reverence for another man who looked like me. I respect this man. I'm going to honor this man because his pain is my pain. His struggle is my struggle. So I'm not trying to make his life harder. His life hard enough. You know what I'm saying? His life is hard enough. So why would I make it harder? But this dude right here, man, screw you. You get respect because you a man. You should respect every man to the simple fact that he's a man. But the minute he don't show himself worthy of respect, I'm not telling you to do that now, because we in the world. We got to carry ourselves in a better fashion. But, oh, man, like you got to love you. I've been telling y'all this for years, too. When you look at another black man and you say you in Mashiach, whether they serve Mashiach or not, you ought to see the Lord. You ought to see your God when you see him, because we all made in his image. And you should have that same love and reverence that you have for the Lord, for this man, especially if he in the word. Especially if he in the word. If he in the household of the faith, you're supposed to have that same man of love, even more so. But even if he ain't in the household of the faith, he's a part of you. That's what I mean. That's why I say that stuff don't, because I'm not worried about them. I can't make somebody love me who don't love me. You know what I'm saying? You can't make somebody love you who don't love you. That's what women try to do all the time. Force somebody to love them who don't love them, who's showing you they don't love you, that they don't care about you. But you think you can change them. You think you throwing this temper tantrum or you begging and you pleading, it's going to make them love you, and it makes them whole. It makes them regard you in a high level of contempt because they know they don't respect you, don't respect yourself enough to walk away. They say, I love myself more than I desire to be with you. See, they'll respect you then if you just said, you know what? Screw you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not fooling with you. They'll respect you more if you did that. Some of these women know that they had dealt with a man who ain't showed them the proper love and the proper respect and the proper honor. And when you finally looked them in the face and said, man, I ain't fooling with you. See, you know, I respect you now. I respect that. I have been waiting for you to leave me alone. I was wondering what you were waiting on. Just leave them alone. It's really just that simple. Just leave them alone. Deal with them when you need to deal with them. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. You can't make someone love you who does not love you. You can't. You know the crazy part is, and I've already said this here, you have a man sitting in heaven that would love nothing more than to love you. And he will give you every bit of love and validation that you're seeking and desiring, and you give him the back and not the front. All to be loved by a man who does not care about you. You have somebody who cared about you enough to manifest themselves in the flesh and to die so that you could become like him and live forever with him, that you could dwell in his bosom, and that you could rejoice in his love for all eternity. And you steady trying to love somebody who does not love you. You backwards. Ezekiel 16 for what I'm going to say. If you know me well, you already know I was going to go to that on what I'm saying. I ain't coming here for the passion because it says that you're a whore. I'm coming here because it says how backwards we are. Ezekiel 16 and verse 29, 27. Matter of fact, just make it 25. Shoot, make it 24. Ezekiel 16 and 24. He said, you have also built unto you an eminent place and have made you a high place at every street. You have built a high place at every head of the way. You've made your beauty to be abhorred. You've opened your feet to everyone that passed by and multiplied your whoredoms. You've also committed fornication with the Egyptians, your neighbors, greater flesh, and have increased your whoredoms to provoke me to anger. Behold, therefore, I have stretched out my hand over you and have diminished your ordinary food and delivered you into the will of them that hate you. Oh, no. Now you see why you in the hand. Let's read that again. Behold, therefore, I have stretched out my hand over you and have diminished your ordinary food and delivered you unto the will of them that hate you. Well, let's look and see what that word will is. Because that's what he said he's done. I just got that notification. I forgot about it, how everybody upset. How could he get charged with third-degree murder and manslaughter? But clearly, you have to know that you have to charge somebody based off what you can win. You can't prove first-degree murder. First-degree murder you have to have premeditation. You can't prove that. You can't win that. That's how you get acquitted. But that's why I know that the average person don't know the court system. So they don't know the statutory definitions of crimes and the charging thereof based off the facts. You can't charge people based off your emotion. You charge people based off what you can convict them for, or what you hope that you can convict them for. Now, the word for unto the will is nephesh. So what is that? That is your soul. So he said he's delivered you unto the soul of them that hate you. He done given you over to man. Sana is the word for hate. And remember what David said about that? That he'd rather fall into the hands of Elohim and to the hands of man, because Elohim is merciful. See, that's what your sins get you. You fall into the hands of men, and men will not have the compassion and mercy on you that Yahuwah will have. Now, that's what the text say. And he just told you why you've been delivered over to the soul of them that hate you. Because you worship idols. That's why. Because you chose to worship nothing when you had the living Elohim to worship. Again, that's lack of accountability. Don't use these curses and say you the people and then don't understand why this stuff happened. That's why that man can kill this man and quote unquote get away with it. That's why these people, and truth be told, this stuff be psychops. Don't think that the CIA is not too far behind. And if I ain't told y'all this, if Benjamin Crump is on the scene, it's a sour deal. Because when this man got killed, when George Floyd got killed in Minnesota, guess who was on the scene? Benjamin Crump. When Arbery got killed in Brunswick, guess who was on the scene? Benjamin Crump. When Trayvon Martin got killed, guess who was on the scene? This nigga was on the scene when the brother got killed in Baltimore. I can't recall his name right now. If you remember his name, you can refresh me. It escapes me at this time. When Mike Brown got killed, guess who was on the scene? Benjamin Crump. He always on the scene. Nigga ain't won a case yet. Is an attorney for the NAACP. You see that Masonic cocksucker, you know something ain't right. You know something ain't right. Y'all gotta be paying attention. Stop letting these people play with your emotions. 16 and 27. Behold, therefore I have stretched out my hand over you, and have diminished your ordinary food, and delivered you unto the will of them that hate you, the daughters of the Philistines, which are ashamed of your lewd way. You have played the whore also with the Assyrians, because you were unsatiable. You played the harlot with them. You could not be satisfied. You have moreover multiplied your fornication in the land of Canaan under Chaldea, and yet you were not satisfied herewith. How weak is your heart, saith Yahuwah Elohim, seeing you do all these things, the work of imperious whorish woman, and that you build your eminent place in the head of every way, and make your high place in every street, and have not been as a harlot, and that you scorn higher as a wife that commit adultery, which takes strangers instead of her husband. They give gifts to all whores, but you give your gifts to all your lovers and hire them, that they may come unto you on every side for your whoredom, and contrary is in you from other women in your whoredoms, whereas none follow you to commit whoredoms, and that you give a reward, and no reward is given to you. Therefore, you are contrary. You's a backwards hope. Because these people ain't chasing after you. You chasing after them. They ain't giving you nothing. You giving your stuff to them. You backwards. So now you can see why I have the attitude that I have of just leave them alone. Just leave them alone. Why are you chasing them? They're not chasing after you. They're not chasing after you. You giving them everything you got. They ain't giving you nothing. We backwards. That's what your God said. You contrary from other whores. You's a dumb hoe. You's a backwards hoe. That's what he telling you. You ain't got no sense. You love the people who hate you, and the man who love you, you treat them like trash. That's backwards. That's just completely backwards. Back to Proverbs 25 and 3. See, Mo Brew don't want to have that conversation because it's going to cause you to self-reflect. Man, we got to save our soul. All that other stuff to try to get likes and to be down, that junk don't mean nothing. You're going to be down in the lake. You're going to be down somewhere you don't want to be. Trying to be down. When we look at death, right? Of course, it's very simple. It's death. Just, and that's Omak. And you have Ayin, you have Mean, and you have Kuf. I'll give y'all a moment to think upon that while I pull up what I already had, because I had already written it down. So we can move a little swifter. Slow down, man. Good to hear from you, man. We got Ayin, Meme, and Kuf. I got over here, the light of the Ruach will let us know the word. I want you to come to John chapter 7. Yeah, man. You know what I mean? I actually need John 11. I be thinking about something totally different when I be thinking John 7. And I say John 7 every time I want John 11. John 11 and 8. Now, we talked a little bit about breath, and we still got to tie that in. And we're working all this stuff in, and we're going to revisit Ezekiel chapter 40, these particular things. So, and there's still another passage somewhere else that we had to grab to bring the totality of why we're looking at all of this. This hit my mind months ago, maybe about a month or so back. So, we're just taking the time to walk through it. John chapter 11 and verse 8. His disciples said unto him, Master, the Yahudim of late sought to stone you, and you go hither again? Yahushua answered, Are there not 12 hours in the day? If any man walk in the day, he stumble not, because he see the light of this world. But if a man walk in the night, he stumble, because there's no light in him. Now, when we look at that depth, he said, man stumble because there's no light in him. I want you to come over here to the book of Job. I want to say Job chapter 11. It might be Job chapter 12. Might be Job. Yeah, Job chapter 12. Verse 15. Make it verse 11. Job 12. It says, Do not the ear try words and the mouth taste its meat. With the ancient is wisdom, and in the length of days understanding. With him is wisdom and strength. He have counsel and understanding. So Paul, you can also look at verse 10, right? I want you to know that this is Job speaking, first and foremost, where he says, In whose hand is the soul of every living thing and the breath of all mankind. Of course, in Acts chapter 17, he makes reference to that that we have our living and being in him. But notice that he said, Do the ear try words and the mouth taste his meat. I want you to come over here to Luke chapter 24 one time. Because to show you already should remember, right, that First John chapter 4 tell you to try the spirits. For many false prophets have gone out into the world. He say you ought to try them, whether they be of Elohim or not. See, we don't do that. See, we feel like trying the spirit is if somebody agrees with your doctrine. You know what I'm saying? That's what we think trying the spirit is. Do he agree with my doctrine? Not does he esteem Elohim. Everything is about agreeance with doctrine. It's funny to me because how many brews be real big on the dudes don't be friends with me if he don't agree with my doctrine. Like, I ain't gonna say I'm gonna have pressure with a dude because he could believe he can have more than one wife, or he believe in a 12 tribe chart. I mean, that's inconsequential to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have a problem with you if you reject the Lord and you disrespect him. I'm not fooling with you. And I'm not required to either. I'm not fooling with you. The only other way that I'm not gonna fool with you is if you don't follow what's in Matthew chapter 18, and I'm gonna treat you like a heathen man and a publican. But of course, I'm a professional. So there still would be mercy, grace, and compassion and kindness there. But I just don't fool with you on an intimate level. We're not gonna be tight or nothing. Not if you say that, you believe, do you believe in a zombie? So you say, dude say, so if I don't believe in Mashiach, he ain't brothers? No, we're not. You don't do the will of Elohim. So for me to call you a brother, I've lied on Yahuwah. That I will not. You know what I'm saying? We kinsmen according to the flesh, but I will not allow my God to appease you because I'm not concerned with unifying. I'm concerned with being in the truth, which is being in Yahushua. That is my concern. My God told me that he did not come to bring peace, but to come to bring a sword. And whether you like it or not, the truth does not bring together. The truth severs. The truth causes division because you have to make a choice, or whether you're going to abide with the truth or you're going to go against the truth. See, you can't meld nationality and truth together and make them unifiers because the truth is not meant to unify. The truth is meant to separate truth from lies, light from darkness. You don't see the correlation of how the text go through that? They say Elohim is light and no part darkness, and whosoever live contrary, walk in darkness, and there is no truth in it. He say you are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. You cannot be a participant in the lust of the flesh and abide in the ruach at the same time. There is a separation. That man said he did not come to bring peace, but to bring a sword and to set a man at variance. He's telling you, I'm coming to make people pick sides. Life or death, blessings or cursing, righteousness or unrighteousness, kadoshness or unkadoshness, clean or profane, Elohim or Hashatan. You have to pick a side. He ain't looking at it, well, they coming together because they back and they putting doctrine to the side. Man, that man ain't stamping that. That man looking at who's standing for me. Huh? You think he did that in the wilderness when them niggas was around there worshiping that golden calf? Moses came off that mountain. He said, who on Yahuwah's side? The Levites say, we is. And they got with him and up them swords and knocked off 3,000 people. They didn't sit back and say, well, we got to come together, man. You know, they didn't do that. Go read Exodus for yourself. Moses came off that mount. He said, who? Let's go on and get it. Screw it. I'll let you see it for yourself. Exodus 32, because I want you to see them words off that page. He said, who on Yahuwah's side? That's what you need to understand. Who riding with Yahuwah? Oh, see, they don't want to hear that. See, people want to hear that. You got to pick a side. You got to make a choice. You got to ride with Yahuwah. Exodus chapter 32, right? You can pick it up at verse 15. I thank Elohim for the word. We still gonna swing back over here to Luke 24. We're gonna pick it up at Luke 24 at verse 25, if you would. Exodus 32 and 15. Moses turned and went down from the mount. The two tables of the testimony were in his hand. The tables were written on both of their sides. On the one side and on the other side were they written. The tables were the work of Elohim, and the writings was the writing of Elohim graven upon the tables. When Yahushua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said unto Moses, there's a noise of war in the camp. He said, it is not the voice of them that shout for mastery, neither the voice of them that cry for being overcome, but the noise of them that sing do I hear. It came to pass as soon as he came near unto the camp that he saw the calf and the dancing. Moses' anger waxed hot. He cast the tables out of his hands, and he brake them beneath the mount. And he took the calf which they had made and burnt it in the fire and ground it with powder and strawed it upon the water and made the sons of Yasharal drink it. Moses said unto Aaron, what did this people unto you that you have brought so great sin upon them? Aaron said, let not the anger of my Lord wax hot. You know the people that they're set on mischief. He didn't take accountability. He blames him. See, that's one of our biggest problems. You You in charge, and you blame the people who under you. That's weakness all the way around the board. Drop down, no. You ain't got to drop down. For they said unto me, make us gods, which shall go before us. So as this Moses, this man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we walk not what has become of him. He said unto him, whosoever have any gold. And I said unto them, whosoever have any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it to me. Then I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf. No, he took it a step further and asked them for the gold. When he could have said, no, we ain't doing none of that. You're going to wait on Moses like he told you to. That's what he's supposed to say it. And when Moses saw that the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies, then Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, who is on Yahuwah's side? Let him come unto me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him. Notice it takes us back to Levi, those who were joined to Elohim, those who were made perfect in one, like he told you in John 17. And guess what? And it said back and he said, when it said, let who is on the Lord, it says Yahuwah, inside, let him come unto him, all the sons. It don't say come on the side. It just said, and who is Yahuwah's sons? Because it say Ben, the sons of life, the son of life. That's what it say. Who's Yahuwah's son? The Levites got up. You should know that from what we looked at last week. Because instead of taking all the firstborn, he took the Levites instead. But that's what it said. Who are Yahuwah's sons? Huh? So when it go down, Yahuwah's son's gonna stand for Yahuwah. I praise Yahuwah in the name of Yahushua. See, that ought to change your thought process now, shouldn't it? But what does Revelation 21 tell you? He that overcometh, he shall be my son, and I will be his Elohim, and he shall inherit all things. So at the end of the day, when it's going down, who is Yahuwah's sons? Who the one's gonna ride with Yahuwah? His household gonna ride with it. His household gonna ride with him. Well, we dealing with how do you become a son of Yahuwah to begin with? Let's come back to Luke chapter 24 before we read this Job 12. Go back to Job 12. I promise you, by the time we complete what I'm angling towards, everything we looking at gonna make sense. And I thank Yahuwah in the name of Yahushua for it. So Luke chapter 24 and verse 25. Then he said unto them, O fools and slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Shalom, man. Are you good, yo? You good, man. You good. Then he said unto them, O fools, slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Ought not Mashiach have to suffer these things and to enter into his esteem? And at the beginning of Moses and all the prophets, he expounded unto them and all the scriptures of things concerning himself. And they drew nigh unto the village. And whether they went, he made as though he would have gone further, but they constrained him, saying, Abide with us, for the store is eating, the day is far spent. And he went in and tarried with them. And it came to pass as he sat at meat with them, he took bread, blessed it, and brake and gave to them. And their eyes were open, and they knew him, and he vanished out of their sight. And they said one to another, Did not our hearts burn within us while he talked with us by the way, while he opened to us the scriptures? So what do we see? Their ears tried the words, their mouth tasted the meat, they tasted his flesh, they tasted that word. Because man don't live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Elohim do man live. Come on back to Job chapter 12, and we in verse 12. Listen what he said. He said, with the ancient is wisdom, Yahushua, ancient of days, from Daniel chapter 7, and he's been made unto you wisdom and length of days, understanding. Talked about that the other day. There's no searching of his understanding. You don't understand that the understanding is with Elohim. He tell you that in Job. That Elohim give inspiration unto a man and give man understanding. You don't give yourself understanding. With him is wisdom and strength. He hath counsel and understanding. Behold, he break down and it cannot be built again. He shut up a man and there can be no open. That way he say, I have a door that no man can shut and a door that that's shut that no man can open. Behold, he withhold waters and they dry up. He also send them out and they overrun the earth. With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his. See, now let me show you why he gonna say this here, right? 2 Timothy chapter. See, that's for y'all who think Satan is that, and the third. That man's deceived and the deceiver are his. They all belong to him. Let that be known. Don't let these people make no fool out you, man. These people be out here trying to make a fool out you. I'm gonna just tell you what deceived and deceivers say. While you coming over here to 2 Timothy chapter 3, probably about verse 10. Hold on, man. Deceived is shagag. I think we just looked at that. That's somebody who commits sin and goes in error, who is mentally an idiot. And deceiver is shagag, is a short, same thing. Somebody who like to swerve, somebody who like to go astray. Verse 10 of 2 Timothy chapter 3. He said, but you have fully known my doctrine, manner of life, purpose, faith, long suffering, love, patience, persecutions and afflictions which came unto me at Antioch and Iconium and Lysturia, which persecutions I endured, but out of them all the Lord delivered me. And yea, all that the live godly and Mashiach Yahushua shall suffer persecution. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. I read you that about evil men seducing worse and worse, because you should already know from the text that Yahuwah told you that he would choose to man what his delusion will be. He would choose a man's delusions. So the deceiver and the deceived is his. The false prophet is his. The deceiver is his. The adversary is his. Those who follow the adversary is his. They ain't got no power. Remember what the book tell you about the beast? That it's Yahuwah that calls all them kings to give their kingdom to the beast. Because the deceiver and the deceived is his. Just know who calling the shots and running the plays, man. Understand? Come on back to Job chapter 12. Verse 17. Look at what he say he do some more. Look, Job chapter 12, right? Verse 17, he lead counselors away spoiled and make the judges fools. He loosed the bonds of kings and girded the loins with the girdle. Pause. Now look what he said. He loosed the bond. Bond is musar. You know what that is. That's the chastening. He said he loosed, that is patak, to open the bonds of a king. So he removes the chastening and he girds their loins with a girdle. Gird is a sar, which is to tie the binder in prison, or to begin the battle, to make the attack, or the obligation of an oath, or to tie, or to harness, or to bind with cords. But pause. Come over here to Acts chapter 2, right? I promise you this still dealing with the earth with death. I promise you, dude. And of course, you know the last part of that verse, that the heart of kings is unsearchable, but it's the heart of the king is searched. You know, you search by the height of heaven and the depth of earth. We talk about that. He gonna search that heart of that king, just like he gonna search your heart, see what's in it. You know, a lot of people, man, their hearts be getting exposed that their heart is not knit with Yahuwah. It ain't knit. Acts chapter 2, verse 22. You men of Yasharal, hear these words. Yahushua Nazareth, a man approved Elohim among you by miracles and wonders and signs which Elohim did by him in the midst of you, as you yourselves also know, who being delivered by determinate counsel and foreknowledge of Elohim, you have taken it by wicked hands, have crucified and slain, who Elohim have raised up, having loosed the pains of death, because it was not possible that he should be holden of it. So he loosed that bond on that king. He loosed that bond, or he loosed that chastening, that discipline, that correction. See, pause, because there's something else in Job when it comes to that. So I might as well get it while I'm here. Job chapter 34. Job chapter 34. Yahuwah is good, and his righteousness endures forever. And that we ought to understand and know that. I just want to see where I want to start in Job 34. Verse 25. Job 34 and 25. Therefore, he know their works. Matter of fact, make it 23. For he will not lay upon man more than right, that he should enter into judgment with Elohim. He shall break in pieces mighty men without number, and set others in their stead. Therefore he know their works, and he overturn them in the night, so that they are destroyed. He strike them as wicked men in the open sight of others. Pause. What does Hebrews tell you about Mashiach? That he was put to an open shame. I kick this in point. He said he strike them as wicked men in the open sight of others. Remember, it said that Yahushua made his grave with the wicked. In the eyesight of men, he was a wicked man. He struck Yahushua as a wicked man. Or as it says in Isaiah 53, the chastisement of our peace was laid upon him. He said he know their works, and he overturned them in the night so that they are destroyed. Do you not know that when they buried this man and then he resurrected the next day, that he destroyed your works and overturned them that night? Remember what it tells you. Amen. Do it for the morning, but for a night. But joy come in the morning. Have understanding. Let's continue. Verse 27. Because they turned their back from him and would not consider any of his ways, so that the cause of the cry of the poor come unto him, and he hears the cry of the afflicted. See, that takes us back to what we were looking at the other day, how Yahushua's blood cried out, the same way that Abel's did. He said, when he give quietness, who then can make trouble? See, that takes us back to the city with the unwalled villages. Can Gog and Magog make trouble when Yahushua has said that he will lay you down and you will lay down and be quiet? When he hide his face, who then can behold him? Whether it be done against a nation or against a man only. Don't it tell you in Deuteronomy, he said that he will hide his face from us? Huh? How can you behold the man's face if you notice that he made a difference and say whether it be done against a nation or against a man only? You can look at that with Ahab. What you gonna do when he will hide his face from you? Ain't nothing you can do. That's why people ain't nothing you can do. He said that the hypocrite reign not, lest the people be ensnared. Surely it is meet to be said unto Elohim, I have borne chastisement, I will not offend anymore. That which I see not, teach you me. And if I've done iniquity, I will do no more. Should it be according to your mind, he will recompense it, whether you refuse or whether you choose not and choose, and not I. Therefore speak what you know. Let men of understanding tell me, and let a wise man hearken unto me. And that's when he going to see, this is the young man, he's snapping on Job. But notice what he said. Is it not meet? Is it not meet to be said that you've borne chastisement, you will not offend anymore? Is it not meet for you to do that? He said he will loose the chastisement. We just read that even though he was a son, he learned obedience by the things that he suffered. He learned by the chastisement. He loosed the chastisement by raising him from the dead. And then he girded him with a girdle. Let's take a look in Revelation chapter 1 and see. I was going to go Daniel 10, but I say, you know what? I ain't going to go Daniel 10. We'll go Revelation chapter 1 because I was going to go Daniel 10. I ain't going to tell you. Revelation 1 and 9. I ain't going to tell you what I was going to do. So notice, when he loosed the chastisement, he girds his loins with a girdle. You know, from the law girding with a girdle, you know what that is. That's high priest clothing. Praise Elohim. Now you right back to Melchizedek all over again. Revelation 1 and 9. I, John, who am also your brother and companion in tribulation, and in the kingdom and patience of Yahushua HaMashiach, was in the isle that is called Patmos, for the word of Elohim and for the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach. I was in the Ruach on the Lord's day, and I heard behind me a great voice as of a trumpet, saying, I'm the Aleph and the Tav, the first and the last. What you see, write in a book, and send it unto the 7 synagogues which are in Asia, unto Ephesians, unto Smyrna, unto Pergamos, unto Thyatira, unto Sardis, unto Philadelphia, and unto Laodicea. And I turned to see the voice that spake with me, and being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks. And in the midst of 7 golden candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, girt with the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool and white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. And he said, and he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth went a sharp 2-edged sword, and his countenance was as the sun shining in strength. And when I saw him, I fell at his feet as dead. He laid his right hand upon me, saying unto me, fear not. Gotta give it a pause. Praise Elohim, it took an hour and some change before the first unstable. After unstable, staying long. Who are willing, it shall pass. Then praise. And it says, and when I saw him, I fell at his feet as dead, and he laid his right hand upon me, saying unto me, fear not, I am the first and the last. I am he that lived and was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore. Amen. And I have the keys of hell and of death. So you see that. He said, I am him who lived and died, and now I'm alive forevermore. So he loosed the chastisement, and he girded his loins with a girdle. Back to Job chapter 12, verse 19. Notice the key component. What got you the girdle? When he took the chastisement off. What does Hebrew 12 tell you? That whoever he chastised, he received them as a son. And he tells you that, whether it be in Hebrews 12, whether it be in Job chapter 3, chapter 5, I should say, it's 3 or 5, whether it's in Proverbs chapter 3, or whether it's in Deuteronomy chapter 8, to not despise the chastening of Yahuwah, or whether it's Revelation chapter 3, for as many as he chastised, love. He say, chasten your son while there is hope, spare not for his crime. Did he not tell you to buy the truth and sell it not? Also, instruction, which is chastening. Didn't he tell you to acquire chastening and discipline? Don't the book tell you, blessed are those who you chasten out of your Torah? Come on, man. The chastening is where the earth for the death from. But the chastening is what causes you to go in the grave. When you come up out the grave, now you can search the heart of the king. Nevertheless, verse 19. He lead princes away. This is Job 12:19. He lead princes away spoiled and overthrow the mighty. He remove away the speech of the trusty and take away the understanding of the age. I'll let you know what that means for trusty. And that's Aman there. So he say he move away the speech of the faithful. He pour contempt upon princes and weaken the strength of the Almighty. So when you look at removing away the speech of the trusty or the faithful, because you should know from Revelation chapter 3, Yahushua, he is the faithful witness, the amen. That's when Yahushua did not speak. He removed away the speech of the trusty. That's Safar, or the lip, the language. Yahushua held his peace. He take away the understanding of the aged. The word for understanding here is ta'am, and that's judgment, decision, or decree. Had the man keep his mouth to himself, took away the judgment of the aged, because he said, wrong judgment proceed. But let's continue. He said he discovered the deep things out of darkness and bring out to light the shadow of death. Now, what were we looking at in John chapter 11? Because John chapter 11 tell you this, right? He said he that walk in the darkness stumble because there's no light in him. Now, he's bringing light out of the shadow of death. But these people are still in darkness because they're still in their sin, because they don't have any light, or they don't have any word in them. Remember, in him was light, and the light was the life of men. So they don't have any ruach in them, as we was looking at in regards to death. Because what does that word, amak? The ayin, meme, and kuf, the light of the ruach, let us know the word. Or what does it tell you? Indeed. Or what does it tell you in John chapter 14, that the comforter of the Ruach HaKodesh will bring to remembrance everything that Yahushua has said unto you. Remember when he rose from the dead, as we just read in Luke 24, and we didn't read the other half of Luke 24, of where he gave them, open up their understanding that they may understand the scriptures. Or the same token what we read, where he went and preached to the spirits in prison, that going into earth for death, it causes us to know the testimony. See, come to 2 Peter. Get straight to the point. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 17. We'll make it 16. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 16. Say, for we have not followed cunningly devised fables when we made known unto you the power and coming of our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach. We were eyewitnesses of his majesty. For we received from Elohim Abba honor and esteem when there came such a voice to him from the excellent esteem. This is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased. And this voice which came from heaven we heard when we were with him in the Kadash Mount. We also have a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto you do well that you take heed as a light unto a light that shine in a dark place until the day dawn and the day star arise in your hearts. Well, let's take a look at something. He says, a light that shine in a dark place. I want you to do this right here. I want you to come to 19. John chapter 19. I want to go to Isaiah chapter 9. And from Isaiah chapter 9 to Genesis chapter 1. And from Genesis chapter 1 to this Colossians that John chapter 19. John chapter 19, verse 20. After this, Yahushua, knowing that all things were now accomplished, that the scripture might be fulfilled, say, I thirst. Now there was set a vessel of vinegar, and they filled a sponge with vinegar and put it upon hyssop and put it to his mouth. When Yahushua therefore received the vinegar, he said, it is finished. He bowed his head and gave up the ruach. The Yahudim, therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should not remain upon the stake on the Shabbat, for that Shabbat day was a high day, saw Pilate that their legs might be broken and that they might be taken away. Now, there's quite a few people on here. So I'm going to ask this question. And I'm asking this question for those who don't know. Because if you don't know, then we have to go read it. Why, according to Torah, did they have to take this man off of this tree? Especially specifically pertaining to what we're discussing right now. Because he's talking about a light shining in a dark place. So according to Torah, why does this man have to be taken off of this tree? I know some. I would wager that most of you know, but I'm only asked that for those who. Matter of fact, don't answer if you know. Who doesn't know? Let me rephrase it in that regard. Who doesn't know, according to Torah, why you have to be taken off this tree? We get 2 to 3 people that say they don't know, and we have to read it. If no one responds, then I will assume that all parties involved know why that's the case. So I'm not asking this just to be asking this. I'm asking this because if you don't know, I need to know that you don't know so that we can show you why that is done. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. So if she's not the only one, y'all gonna leave her out there to dry. I know she can't be the only one. Jessica, they left you out to dry, but I ain't gonna leave you out to dry. Come over here to Deuteronomy chapter 21. And you can come to Deuteronomy 15. Well, there's another witness. Saran came through in the clutch, and we appreciate you, sir. I wasn't gonna leave Jess out to dry. They were gonna leave you out to dry, Jess. They dirty. They doing you dirty. They ain't want to raise their hand. Well, I don't need verse 15. Verse 15 going this son. I don't need verse 18. Word, bet, that'll work. That is sufficient. Deuteronomy 21 and 18. It says, if a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, which will not obey the voice of his father or his mother, and that when they have chastened, he will not hearken unto them. I want you to just see what stubborn here is. And that is sarah, and that's to be rebellious, or to be stubborn, to rebel. I think rebellious would be the word that we already have dealt with. That is marah, and that is to be contentious or to be disobedient towards their father, or disobedient towards Elohim. I want you to understand that this is representative of Yasharal in this regard. He said, then shall his father and mother lay hold on him and bring him out to the elders of the city and unto the gate of his place. We know that the scribes and Pharisees lay hold on Yahusha and took him outside the gate of the place. And they said unto the elders of the city, this is our son, stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. And I want you to see what glutton is, because we done talk about glutton. Glutton ain't got nothing to do with eating. Glutton is the law. That is somebody who was worthless and vile and insignificant. So you already know that they called him a blasphemer. If you're not familiar, in Matthew chapter 11, he said they called him a wine bibber. Pause. For those who don't know that Matthew chapter 11 says that, I want you to see it for yourself. Matthew chapter 11, probably about verse 18, if you would. Make it 16. Matthew chapter 11, verse 16. He said, but whereunto shall I liken this generation? It is like unto children sitting in markets, calling unto their fellows, and saying, we have piped unto you, and you have not danced. We have mourned unto you, and you have not lamented. See, when we sing the praises, you don't move. And when we cry out in sadness for you to repent, you don't mourn with us. He say, for John came neither eating and drinking, and they say he have a devil. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they said, behold, a man gluttonous and a wine bibber, a friend of publicans and sinners, but wisdom is justified of the children. So now you see that they called him gluttonous and a wine bibber, or worthless and a drunk. Now we could get you that Greek definition of gluttonous. But when you see glutton in the Hebrew, it means somebody who's worthless. It is phagos, and it is a voracious man, a glutton. Now, I don't recall the definition of voracious off the top of my head, so give me a moment, and I'll give you the definition of that. I've not used that word in a very long time. And it's somebody who wants and devours a large amount of food. So come on back over here to Deuteronomy 21. A voracious appetite. It's been a long time since I used that. Long time. I remember my teacher told me a long time ago, if you don't use your words in your vocabulary, you will forget them. And she ain't never lied. We're in verse 20. So they shall say unto the elders of his city, this is our stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. The men of the city shall stone him with stones that he die. So you shall put away the evil from among you, and all Yasharal shall hear and fear. So understand that they saw Yahusha as a glutton and a drunkard, worthless and a drunk. Let's continue. Verse 22. If a man have committed a sin worthy of death, he be put to death, and you hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but it shall in any wise bury him that day. For he that is hanged is accursed of Elohim, that your land be not defiled, which Yahuwah your Elohim give you for an inheritance. Can't keep that by the. She just mentioned when they hung those kings. In Yahushua son of Nun, chapter 10, they hung 5 kings. That's something we dealt. I'll show it to you right now. That's something we dealt with in the past as well. And they took them off them trees and they put them in a grave and they rolled a stone on that grave. Yahushua son of Nun, chapter 10, verse 22. Yahushua son of Nun, chapter 10, verse 22. And they did so, excuse me. And then said Yahushua, open the mouth of the cave and bring out those 5 kings unto me out of the cave. They did so and brought forth those 5 kings unto him out of the cave. Look at namely the king, the first one, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, the king of Eglon. The key thing that you have to look at is they are kings. That will take you back to what we read in Job chapter 12. How they loose the bonds of the kings and gird them with a girdle. Let's continue. And it came to pass, and I finished with that. When it came to pass, when they brought out those kings under Yahusha, that Yahusha called for all the men of Yasharal, all the captains of the men of war, which will get them, come near, put your feet upon the necks of these kings. And they came near, and they put their feet upon the necks of them. Yahusha said unto them, fear not, be nor be dismayed, be strong of good courage, for thus shall Yahuwah do to all your enemies against whom you fight. That's why he said in your last enemy that he shall be vanquished his death till he make his enemies your footstool. Let's continue. And afterwards, Yahusha smote them and slew them and hanged them on 5 trees. And they were hanging on the trees until the evening. And it came to pass at the time of the going down of the sun that Yahusha commanded, and they took them down off the trees and cast them into the cave where they had been hid, and laid great stones in the cave's mouth, which remain unto this very day. So you see another witness. But the key point of what we're looking at in Deuteronomy 21, what you see why this man was crucified, because they viewed him as being worthless and a drunk. They viewed him as a man of Belial, that they hung him from a tree. When you get hung from a tree, you can't leave him on a tree all night, because it'll make the land unclean. That's why it says that in Galatians chapter 3, Jessica. He said, that Mashiach has redeemed us from a curse from the law, because as it is written, cursed be he that hangeth from a tree. You understand? So when you come back over here to John chapter 19, what we see is a light shining out of a dark place, with him being crucified, with it going down, that the light or Mashiach was shining out of a place where there was death, or he brought light out of the shadow of death, as we just read in Joel chapter 12. Isaiah chapter 9, Genesis chapter 1. And from that, I go to Revelation, well, I go to Matthew 24. I figured out by the time I get down to chapter 1, the direction that we will go in. But Isaiah chapter 9. Nine and 1. Nevertheless, hymness shall not be as such as was in her vexation when she firstly lightly afflicted the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, afterwards did more grievously afflict her by the way of the sea beyond Jordan and Galilee of the nations. The people that walk in darkness have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of shadow of death, upon them have the light shine. Well, Yahushua made that statement in John chapter 3. You know what I'm saying? John chapter 1 has also made that statement. That Colossians chapter 1 makes that statement. You understand? Even John chapter 12 makes that statement. But we're dealing with what Peter said, that light shines out of a dark place. Well, he's telling you that even in the shadow of death, upon them have light shine. Because they weren't understanding that when it was made to go dark while Mashiach was on the tree, they were in the shadow of death, but yet a light was shining. That you could see that you had hope even in death. See, that was going to get Genesis chapter 1, but you don't have to go around there and get it, because y'all know what Genesis is. When the earth was without form and darkness was upon the face thereof, Yahuwah said, let there be light, and there was light. Because out of the shadow of darkness, a light shine. So we can understand that the earth for the depth and the heart of the king is searchable. That the light of the Ruach shows us the word. That light of life shows us the face of Yahushua, shows us the face of Elohim. Now just bear with me, because we'll get to the component, because I have to hit the other measurements before we unveil the thing that we're looking at and bring everything in its totality, or it'll mess the flow, the ebb and flow of what we're looking at. What's happening, man? Revelation chapter 6. Notice that when he said the day star arise in your heart, so the morning star, Yahushua told you he's the bright and morning star. I didn't read that in Zechariah 14 when we read it earlier, but he said, but in the evening time it shall be light. Because at the shadow of death, because the world would be in death, because there would be a time of trouble since was never seen, That if it wasn't for the elect's sake, no flesh would be saved, because everyone will be walking in darkness. Or as the text says, when the wicked are in rule, the people mourn. And the people will be in great sadness during the time of the beast. No different than people are in great sadness. When it's talking about people being mourning, it's talking about the righteous. The righteous will mourn when the wicked are in rule, because wrong judgment proceeds. These people are not mourning because the wicked rule. They're mourning because the wicked won't accept them, because they want to be accepted by the wicked, and the wicked reject them, as I've already discussed earlier. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody mourning because these people are wicked, because most of the people, specifically our people, are partakers in the wickedness of which the wicked promote. See, let me tell you something. In the eyesight of Yahuwah, you can't speak against someone else's wickedness when you're mired in wickedness. You would be a hypocrite. That's why he told you, judge not lest you be judged. For the same measure you meet will be measured back unto you again. That's why a lot of people don't like to hear when you cast in judgment and then they measure that judgment back to you. That's why they want to call you a coon. That's why they want to call you this or call you that, because your hands got to be clean, son. You can't speak on the wickedness of others when you're embroiled in wickedness yourself. Can't do it. John the Baptist could go straight in Herod. John the Baptist was a righteous man. He could say whatever he wanted to say. If you around here licking coochies, busting up a boy's back, and you a boy telling lies, you know what I'm saying? Fornicating with every woman you see, whoremongering, worshiping idols, you can't speak on them committing murder. Not in the eyesight of Yahuwah. You can speak on it, and on a natural level, be just. But in the eyesight of Yahuwah, you a hypocrite. And you could be speaking right. And he's still going to view you as a hypocrite. And he's going to measure that same judgment right back to you. He's going to go, what about your sins, son? Don't sit here and talk about this woman being a whore and you like to watch porn and rape yourself. You understand? Don't talk about that person being a drunk and you on every drug known to man. Don't talk about that person being a liar and you secretly bow down and worship the idols in your heart. Too many people. That's why he says, so the hypocrite won't reign. We just read that in Job chapter 12. So the hypocrite won't reign. The hypocrite can't rule. We talked about this long time ago. He that rule amongst men must be just. And y'all know what justice is. That's Zadok. And what is Zadok? Zadok stood with Yahuwah. What did we just see in Exodus 32? Who was on Yahuwah's side? But it just said, who are Yahuwah's sons? It just said, who are Yahuwah's sons? We know that he that is born of Elohim sin not. He cannot sin. His seed remain in him. He's born of Elohim. He riding with his daddy. He riding with his daddy every time. You ride with Yahuwah every time, in every situation and circumstance, or is you going with the people? You gonna do what Aaron said? You know the people said on mischief. Or you ride with Yahuwah? Why do you think Yahushua said he ain't come to bring peace but to bring a sword? Because you seen that in Exodus 32. Moses didn't come off that mountain and bring no peace. He came and brought a sword and set people. They don't like that. They don't sit well with people's soul. Now do it. Praise Elohim that it don't sit right with people's soul, because it should. Because the word is tight, but it's right. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. That's what the book say. What you gonna do about it? You gonna get in line with it? Or you gonna resist it to your own damnation? Why resist your own salvation? And if you judge yourself unworthy of salvation, why perpetrate the fraud? Go live how you want to live. You're going to hell regardless. You might as well go to hell living it up. You understand? These people out here crazy, man. I ain't try to say it, man. That's why I don't even get it like this here, man. I don't even say nothing, man. When I was talking to the dude the other day, he was going off. I said I could hit him with this word. He ain't brought up no word. I'm gonna leave this nigga alone. But he ain't ready for it. I sprinkled a little here and there for him. He ain't catch on. But he wasn't supposed to catch on. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I mean by having skill. Sometimes you just can't come full throttle at nobody hit it with the word. He ain't asked for that, so I ain't giving that. Who would have present the opportunity? So therefore, I just held my peace and just let him talk. You know what I'm saying? Because he was mad and frustrated. Man, they keep doing the dirty, man. This, that. I hear you, man. You know what I'm saying? I hear you, man. I say these things gotta happen, man. These things gotta happen. Told the same thing I've been felt. I don't see how no real man, and this ain't even got nothing to do with people trying to compare themselves with Moses when Moses slayed the Egyptian. Don't compare yourself with that. The book say that was a similitude to let them know that he was going to free them from bondage. Similitude to Mashiach. Don't do yourself like that. But at the same token, I don't see how a dude sit around and watch somebody get beat up by the police and film it. Ain't got to be no word for that, man. We finna bump, cuz. Ain't no way in the world I'm finna sit down and watch someone get accosted. No matter who I did, and film it. And you filming it. In my opinion, that's the highest form of cowardice. What you doing filming it? What that gonna do? Look what he doing. Well, why you watching it, cuz? Same person who filming it tell you to go out there and riot and burn something up ain't gonna go out there and help you burn nothing. One thing I always have been told, don't never, ever send a man to do something that you ain't gonna do yourself. That's why Yahushua praise Elohim. That's why Yahushua can come through and tell you whatever he want to tell you. Because he came through and did it himself. He ain't asking you to do nothing that he ain't did himself. That's why when we buck him, we ought to go to hell. Because he's not asking us to do anything that he hasn't done himself. When he asks you to serve, he ain't telling you that nothing that he didn't do. He served. When he tell you to obey him, he ain't doing nothing but what he did. He obeyed his father. When he's telling you to mortify your members, he literally mortified his. All you have to do is suffer in the flesh. Like, come on, man. This man is not asking you to do nothing that he has not done. Never listen to anybody who gonna send you to do something that they ain't gonna. And see, that came when we were young, and dude was like, don't try to get somebody to go kill somebody, and you ain't gonna go kill him yourself. Because if you ain't gonna go kill him yourself, you like that you ain't even got no business talking like that. You ain't got no business talking like that if you ain't gonna go pull that trigger yourself. I know that's extreme, but this is a real conversation that was really said to us when we were younger. Don't go send somebody to go kill somebody and you ain't gonna go do that. Because they were trying to impart on us the seriousness of that type of action. And that if you're not willing to do that, then you're not built for that. So go sit down somewhere. And stop trying to be a tough guy. And stop trying to be this. You're not a killer. That's not you. And that can go with anything in life. Don't send somebody to do something that you're not going to do yourself. Period. Don't do it. You know what I'm talking about? Because guess what? Yahushua can turn around and he can send anybody out. And all they doing is what he said, greater works than these that you seen me do. He said, you going to do. See, that's the beauty of the man who we serve and whom we follow. He ain't asking us to do anything that he has not done. He said, you are those who were with me in my temptations. And he was tempted in like fashion as we are, yet without sin, that he might be a faithful and merciful high priest and pertaining to reconciliation to Elohim. So what excuse do we have? We don't have one. Revelation chapter 6, verse 12. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree cast her untimely figs. And when she is shaken of a mighty wind, and heaven departed as a scroll, and when it rolled together, every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and mighty men, every bondman, every free man, hid themselves in the dens and the rock of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, hide us from the face of him that sit on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come. Who shall be able to stand? Well, where did this all come about? It all came about because Yahushua's heaven for height. We talked about heaven for height a tad, about him ascending into heaven. Matter of fact, I need to finish Isaiah 14 because I never finished that. So let's go back over there. And the earth for depth. And the heart of the king is searchable, not unsearchable, searchable. So what we stopped at in Isaiah 14 is how we seen that the graves would move from him, and that the chief men would say, you have become weak as we and like unto us, or that you have laid down or be wounded or have perished, you know, preaching to the spirits in prison. Verse 11, he said, your pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of your vials, the worm is spread under you, the worms cover you. Pomp is Gaon, and that's your majesty. Your majesty is brought down to the grave. The noise, Emyah, which is the sound of music or instruments, the noise of your vials, the worm, which is Ramah, which is maggot worm, or calls a sign of decay, or figurative of him being dead, seeing corruption, but not being corrupted, if you would, by not going into rigor mortis. And worms cover you. You could take that to Psalm 22 in regards to worms covering. Worms here, the second time for worms is tolah, which is scarlet or crimson, scarlet stuff, or blood. So blood is spread under you and covers you. And that is Mekasah. So when you look at that and what it says that his majesty is brought to the grave, the sound or his voice, his words. And you can say noise of vials of music and instrument. That is Ezekiel chapter 33. You know what I'm saying? You're one who sounds, make a great. Just go ahead and get Ezekiel 33. Because I ain't say it right. So, you know, we're going to have to look at it. Ezekiel 33, verse 30. So when I tell you that worm is spread under you and worms cover you, his blood covers you. Worm being the people. Ezekiel 33 and 30. Also, you son of man, the son of your people is still talking against you by the walls and the doors of the houses, speaking one to another, every one to his brother, saying, come, I pray you, hear what is the word that comes forth from Yahuwah. And they come unto you as the people come, and they sit before you as my people, and they hear your words, but they will not do them. For with their mouth they show much love, but the heart go after their covetousness. And lo, you are unto them as a very lovely song of one that have a pleasant voice, that can play well on an instrument, for they hear your words, but they do them not. And when this come to pass, and lo, it will come, they shall know that a prophet have been among them. So when they silenced that man's words, they knew a prophet had been amongst them. That's why they would have said, set a seal, man, because this liar said he'd resurrect from the dead. But let's continue in Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12. He said, how art you fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art you cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? Well, we've already looked in Lamentations, where he told you how the beauty of Israel was cast out of heaven. Of course, you know that Lucifer is Hayal, and that's light bearer. And it is also the same meaning of the name of Aaron, how he was cut down to the ground. Cut down is gotta. Cut, hew, chop, chop down, hew down. Morning is Shakar, which is the dawn, which is what you read earlier. And with Peter talking about who the day star arise in your hearts, to the day dawn and the day star arise in your hearts. And I've told y'all this before. If Satan is the day star, why is Satan arising in your heart? Makes absolutely no sense. Your law is also up under Shakar, and that is to howl or to make a howling. When it tells you in verse 13, for you said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Elohim. I will also sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. Well, of course, you know that. Of course, you just read it. Who have ascended and descended into heaven from Proverbs chapter 30. You know that Yahushua said, what, and if you shall see me ascend to where I was before. You know in Acts chapter 1 that he ascended into heaven. You know from John chapter 16 that he told him it was expedient that he go to heaven, that the comforter might come. So I don't know why people tell you that Satan said he'd go into heaven, because Satan never told you that. He said, I will exalt my throne above the stars of Elohim. You should know that stars of Kokab, that's the sons of Mashiach. You should know that from Hebrews chapter 1 and Psalms 45, that he's given a better name and is higher than the Malachim. But the mount of the congregation is Psalms 48. And it tells you that the size of the north and the mount, we just read about the mount of congregation, Isaiah chapter 2. That is Jerusalem. But the size of the north, we just read about the size of the north last week with them gates, and that Judah's gate is in the north. And you can read Psalms 48, and it tell you that the size of the north is Jerusalem. Come to Psalms 48 for those of you who don't. Psalms 48 and 1. You read it for yourself. You also know in Matthew chapter 5 that Yahushua told you that Jerusalem was the city of the great king. You know this. He told you this. He told you don't swear by heaven nor by Jerusalem, because he said heaven is Elohim's throne and Jerusalem is the city of the great king. Psalms 48:1, great is Yahuwah, greatly to be praised in the city of our Elohim and the mountain of his Kadashness. Beautiful for situation. The joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion. On the sides of the north, the city of the great king, Elohim is known in her palaces for a refuge. Look at verse 8. As we have heard, so we have seen in the city of Yahuwah of hosts, in the city of our Elohim. Elohim will establish it forever. Selah. According to your name, O Elohim, so is your praise unto the ends of the earth. Your right hand is full of righteousness. Let my Zion rejoice. Let the daughters of Yehudah be glad because of your judgments. Walk about Zion, go round about her, tell the towers thereof. Mark you where her bulwarks, consider her palaces, that you may tell it to a generation following. For this Elohim is our Elohim forever and ever. He will be our guide even unto death. So Psalm 48 is about Jerusalem, about Mount Zion. If we see that the city of the great king and the size of the north is dealing with that, then we can't sit back and go for that lie that these people have been telling us. Talking about Satan said he wanted to go to heaven and sit on Yah's throne. That's not what it says. That's not what it says. And I'll take you through each word so you can see what it says. Now, of course, you know, Amara said you got leb for heart. You got ascend, which is Allah, which is to ascend or to climb into heaven, Shamayim, and I will exalt, which is room, which is to rise up or to be high. Throne, above, which is Ma'al, or Toya Kokah for the stars of Elohim. I will sit, which is Yeshab, which is to dwell, to remain, to stay, to be inhabited, to cause to sit, to cause to dwell. Har for mountain. Moed for congregation, which is appointed place, appointed time, a sacred season, a set feast, appointed sign or signal or tent of a meeting. He'll sit upon the mount at an appointed time. Oh, no, not at an appointed time. Well, you know he's sitting there. If we was going to look at Moed for the common definition, outside of the last definition of tent of meeting, you know that man coming to sit on that throne during the Feast of Tabernacles. You know that man coming to sit on that throne at the Feast of Tabernacles. Y'all know that. And of course, in the sides, which is Yeraka, which is the side, extreme parts. That's very simple, very easy. And north is Saphon, which is north direction. Verse 14, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. We've already referenced John chapter 16, verse 7, where this man said that he must. And of course, you know, he ascended on high and took captivity captive and gave gifts unto men. And then when he did this, I will be like, which is Damah, which is to be like or to resemble. That's when he remember what he told him in John chapter 14. If you've seen me, you've seen my Father, because he's made in his image. So of course he's going to resemble the Most High. Why wouldn't he resemble his father? What son don't resemble his father? Like, come on, man, be serious. Don't you realize when we put on Mashiach, we will resemble him? And Damah is Dalit, Meme, and Hey. So guess what? You can sit back to Yahushua's blood of sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? You can sit back and you can see the sacrifice of the man's blood. That's how he became like the Most High. Remember, he went into the greatest Son of Man, came out the Son of Elohim, heaven for height, hurt earth for death, the heart of the king is searchable because he went into the grave and he ascended on high. Now you're able to search the man's heart. Now you can search the scriptures, and now you can see that you have eternal life because they testify of him, and you can come to him that you might have life and receive the Ruach HaKodesh and dwell in Yahuwah's everlasting kingdom. So praise Elohim in the name of Yahushua for that. Look at what verse 15 said, that you shall be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. But before all that can happen, before he can do all of these things, and it is your rod, which is to go down, to decline, to march, to send down, to be brought down. He's got to be brought down to the grave. That's what it says. You shall be brought down to the grave, to the sides of the pit. Pit is bore, which is a pit, a well, or a cistern. Bat, u, and rash. Look how the son is secured, or Yahusha is secured to his father. And how did he get secured to his father? Because remember what he said, Abba, I finished the work which you gave me to do. Now make us perfect in one with these apostles of mine and those who will believe on me through their testimony, so we can all be made perfect in one, because he was brought down to the pit. And as we read earlier, he loosed the loins, or he loosed not the loins, put the girdle on there. George, let me read the Job. I forgot what it said just that fast. My apologies for that. But he loosed the bond of the king, or the bond, or he loosed the chastisement of the king, because that bond says Musar. So it's discipline and chastisement. So you turn around and you look at how he loosed the chastisement of a king and girdled their loins with a girdle. And you've seen that Yahushua said, I am him who lives and who died and lives forevermore. Because the very same thing that he said, he told us that if we overcome, we will sit down with him in his throne as he sat down with his father in his throne, because we will resemble a king. See, I tell you that in the book of Judges. Let me stop, because I keep on going, because we still got two more things to add with that. You who are willing, we're going to add that on tomorrow. But I say hallelujah for Yahusha and the word. I appreciate everybody's time this evening. Bless y'all out in the house of y'all in the name of Yahusha. Prayerfully, you gain some understanding. We went through a lot. We've gotten breadth and height. Still got two more. Oh, y'all willing on tomorrow, it'll all make sense when we finish. But just remember what I said, man. Stop chasing after people who don't love you. Now, I've mentioned that as far as how Black people get treated in America. But now let me fit that on the level of those of you who serve Yahuwah. Stop chasing after people who don't love you, who don't love your God, and shun you and ridicule you, and whatever a negative connotation that can be contrived from an individual, because you have made a conscious decision that you will no longer be a servant of sin. You will no longer be a servant to the wickedness of this world, because you have made a conscious decision to give your life over to the living Elohim by way of his only begotten son, Yahushua HaMashiach. Stop chasing after them people to get them to love you, and understand that you had someone who loved you from the foundation of the world. Understand that. See, unfortunately, most of us have never actually had someone who actually loved and cared about you. So you tend to cleave to people who don't care nothing about you, to try to force them to love you, because you feel like that will validate your existence. All it does is make them respect you less. That's all it does. It just makes them respect you less. It's not going to make them love you anymore. They're going to look at you and feel like you're an idiot. You know what I'm saying? But if you know that you have someone who loves you and cares about you, why wouldn't you cleave to them? Now, why do I say that? If you know that Elohim so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that none would perish but have everlasting life, and that Elohim is love, and that he is love because he made himself a propitiation for our sins, and understanding that all he's seeking for you to do is to come serve him, because he loves you and he has love prepared for you. But he's not going to give you that love if you don't love him. He told them people that he said, I've severed you from amongst others that you could be mine. That's what he said. You got to understand that. Remember the man said he didn't came. He said, you know, who's on Yahuwah's side? Who's Yahuwah's son? Are you his child? Well, if you his child, why you don't love your father? I understand how difficult it is. It's your natural family, it's your friends, the people you grew up with, people you have affinity to and care about. And I'm not telling you not to have an affinity, care, or love for people that you've known your entire life. No, that's not what I'm telling you. I'm not telling you to be rigid and contentious and a douchebag with these people. But if your people shun you and disrespect you, you know what I'm saying? And you still chasing after them to get them to love you, you need to stop. You know what I'm saying? You need to love and respect yourself enough to know that whether somebody loves you or validates you or not, that it does not matter to you because you love yourself. And you know that your Father in heaven and his Son who sits at his right hand loves you. So that's all you need. That's why he said, how can you believe which receive honor one from another, but not the honor that comes from Elohim only? And I didn't read it in Psalms 27 when we read Psalms 27 on Wednesday. But how about when he said, if my mother and father forsake me, who will take me up? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Look at things from a spiritual aspect. Stop being moved by your emotions. You're supposed to be vanguards of the word. You're supposed to be keepers of the oracles of Elohim. How can you be so emotionally moved by everything that occurs? Where is your spiritual maturity at? Screw emotional maturity, because you're supposed to already crucify your affections and lusts when you were crucified with Mashiach. So where's your spiritual maturity at? I don't care what go on in this world. There's no way that you should be emotionally moved if you say you in the Ruach of the living Elohim. You see it, you understand it, and you base it off of what the text say. Therefore, you've never high strung. You know, anybody who walk in the Ruach cannot be manipulated. Only those who are carnal can be manipulated because you're leaning to your flesh, and the flesh is easily manipulated because the flesh is simple. The flesh goes by how it feels in the moment. The Ruach goes according to the word. It's going to stick to the word. Guess what? Those who are built upon the word is like Mount Zion, that when it's shaken, they cannot be moved. Can't be moved. Praise Elohim in the name of Yahushua for that. But again, I bless y'all at the house of y'all name of Yahushua. You are willing, we'll pick it up on tomorrow, probably about 2:30, no later than 3 o'clock. Just weigh and consider, man. Let the word rest in your heart, man. Continually stand firm in the faith. Let your heart always rejoice in your God. Let your mind be stayed on those things that be in heaven, and hold fast to your reward and make your calling and election sure. And you who are willing to the next time.